Have you ever gone through your day feeling perfectly fine only to discover later that something inside your body was quietly breaking down? Imagine this: you could lose up to 90% of your kidney function before a single clear symptom ever shows up. That means by the time you actually feel something is wrong, the damage may already be severe, even life-threatening. Unlike your heart, which races when it's under pressure, or your lungs, which cough when they're irritated, your kidneys often stay silent. They filter your blood day and night, never asking for attention, never sending obvious signals, until it's almost too late. That silence is both their strength and their danger. And that's why so many people, especially after the age of 50, are blindsided when they're told their kidneys are failing. Now here's where it gets even more alarming. Many well-meaning people think they're protecting their bodies by eating healthy. They cut out soda-skip fried foods, avoid red meat, and load their plates with vegetables. They drink green smoothies, fresh juices, and eat what the internet calls superfoods. On the surface, it looks like the perfect plan. But what if I told you that some of these very choices could actually be pushing your kidneys closer to collapse? I'm Dr. Johnny, and in this video, I'm going to show you the truth that most people never hear. Not all vegetables are safe for aging kidneys. Some are loaded with compounds that quietly overload your system: potassium, oxalates, hidden toxins that can tip your kidneys from coping to crashing without a sound. But don't panic. The good news is that once you know which foods to watch out for and which to welcome onto your plate, you can take control. Small, simple swaps, choosing one vegetable over another, can protect your kidneys, restore your energy, and give you back years of health you might have lost. So stay with me, because what you'll hear in the next few minutes may completely change the way you look at your plate, and more importantly, it could change the future of your kidneys. Let's start with one of the most common healthy foods on the American dinner table: tomatoes. On their own, fresh tomatoes in small amounts are usually safe even for someone with kidney concerns. The danger begins the moment we process them into concentrated forms like tomato paste, canned sauce, ketchup, or juice. They look harmless because they start with a vegetable, but concentration changes everything. Take this in: one single cup of unsalted tomato sauce can pack nearly 1,000 milligrams of potassium. For someone with kidney issues, that's almost half of their entire safe daily limit in just one cup. Now imagine making a pot of pasta and pouring in a full can of tomato paste. That's enough potassium to silently double or even triple the danger zone before you've even finished your plate. And the scariest part, your body doesn't send out sirens. When potassium builds up, the condition is called hyperkalemia. At first, it may only cause vague fatigue, a little muscle weakness, or a heartbeat that feels slightly off. But inside, the overload is interfering with your heart's electrical rhythm, and in severe cases, it can suddenly stop the heart altogether with no clear warning. Robert, a 59-year-old retiree, thought he was doing everything right. Every Sunday, he proudly made homemade sauce from scratch, believing it was the healthier choice, but he used a full can of tomato paste each time. Lab tests later showed his potassium levels had spiked dangerously high, all because his kidneys, already slowing down with age, couldn't keep up with the overload. When his doctor explained the risk, Robert switched to smaller portions, using just 2 tablespoons of paste and adding herbs like basil and oregano for flavor. Within weeks, his potassium stabilized, proving that even small adjustments can save your kidneys. But only knowing this isn't enough, because another vegetable one, far more common in American comfort food, can unleash even greater damage if you're not careful. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next food carries a hidden risk even more dangerous than tomato sauce. Now, if tomato sauce is a silent attack, potatoes are a full-on ambush. Think about it. Mashed, baked, fried, or roasted, they're on American tables almost every single day. They're tied to family dinners, holiday feasts, and childhood comfort. But for aging kidneys, this comfort food can quietly turn into a deadly trap. Here's the shocker: a single medium-sized baked potato can hold up to 1,000 milligrams of potassium. Sweet potatoes can climb even higher. Just 1 cup of mashed sweet potato delivers around 1,200 milligrams. For someone with kidney problems, that's already over the safe daily limit in just one side dish. And remember, the kidneys don't sound alarms when they're struggling. Extra potassium lingers in your blood, slowly pushing you toward hyperkalemia, where the heart's rhythm can suddenly go out of control. Linda, a 64-year-old grandmother, found this out the hard way. At Thanksgiving, she thought she was making a healthy choice by piling her plate with mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, and roasted reds. Hours later, she was rushed to the hospital with dangerously high potassium and an unstable heartbeat. Her doctors warned her that her kidneys couldn't handle that kind of overload anymore. Today, Linda still enjoys potatoes, but only in tiny portions, and only after soaking them in water and boiling them, a process called leaching, which can strip away up to 70% of the potassium. It's not about giving up comfort food completely. It's about shrinking the danger down to what your kidneys can manage. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next so-called superfood is praised by athletes and wellness gurus alike. Yet it can damage your kidneys in not one, but two devastating ways. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next food brings a double threat that most people never see coming. If potatoes overload the kidneys from one direction, beets come at them from two. They've been marketed as miracle foods. Athletes drink beet juice to boost stamina. Wellness blogs call them natural blood pressure medicine, and detox cleanses often highlight beet powder or beet shots as circulation boosters. On the surface, it feels like the perfect health choice. But for your kidneys, beets carry a dangerous double blow. First, they're high in potassium. Just one glass of beet juice can deliver between 450 and 600 milligrams, concentrated powders or performance shots. Even more, for someone with struggling kidneys, that's like silently stacking bricks on a fragile bridge. It only holds for so long before it cracks. Second, and even more alarming, beets are loaded with oxalates. These compounds bind with calcium in your body and form sharp crystals that can lodge inside the kidneys. Over time, those crystals scratch delicate tissue, cause stones, or even block the entire filtration system. And when you juice or blend beets, you're not just eating them, you're concentrating the oxalates into a direct hit on your kidneys. David, a 48-year-old fitness enthusiast, learned this lesson in the worst way. Inspired by an article on beet juice and endurance, he started drinking a big glass every morning. Within 3 weeks, he was in the ER with severe kidney pain. Tests revealed oxalate crystals clogging his kidneys. It took 6 months of recovery, and his doctors warned him never to touch beet juice again. So while beets may look vibrant and healthy, they're a quiet danger waiting to strike. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable hides behind a cheerful, pie-friendly face, and yet it can overwhelm the kidneys in a single serving. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next food looks harmless in desserts, but its toxic load can shut down your kidneys almost overnight. Sometimes the most cheerful-looking foods hide the darkest dangers, and rhubarb is the perfect example. With its bright red stalks and tangy flavor, it shows up in pies, jams, and sauces that feel homemade and comforting. But beneath that friendly appearance, rhubarb is one of the most kidney-toxic vegetables you could ever eat. The threat comes from oxalates, those sharp, crystal-forming compounds we talked about earlier. In small amounts, your body can usually handle them. But rhubarb is off the charts. Just 1 cup of diced rhubarb can carry over 1,000 milligrams of oxalates, more than 20 times the safe daily limit for someone with kidney concerns. Once inside, those oxalates bind with calcium, forming jagged crystals that scratch, inflame, and can even block the kidney's delicate filters. And it doesn't stop there. When rhubarb is cooked down into jams or pie fillings, the oxalates become even more concentrated. That means a single slice of rhubarb pie or even a couple spoonfuls of jam can deliver a toxic overload that pushes the kidneys past their breaking point. Sometimes the damage isn't slow, it can strike all at once, triggering sudden kidney injury in people who had no prior warning. Sarah, a 56-year-old teacher, learned this the hard way. Over one weekend, she enjoyed rhubarb crisp at 3 family gatherings. By Monday morning, she was in the hospital with severe pain and dangerously low kidney function. Tests revealed oxalate crystals blocking her kidneys, forcing her onto temporary dialysis. Months later, her kidneys slowly improved, but for her, rhubarb was permanently off the menu. Rhubarb proves that even the prettiest foods can carry hidden risks. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next leafy green looks safe and healthy, yet it strikes from both sides at once, hitting your kidneys with a double overload. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next green vegetable delivers a 1-2 punch that can overwhelm your kidneys before you even realize what's happening. Now, if rhubarb attacks with pure oxalates, Swiss chard comes at your kidneys with a 1-2 punch. On the surface, it looks innocent, vibrant green leaves that health blogs and plant-based cookbooks praise as nutrient powerhouses. Many people toss it into salads, saute it with garlic, or even blend it into juices, believing they're making a smart swap for their health. But for kidneys under strain, Swiss chard is anything but safe. Here's why. Just 1 cup of cooked Swiss chard can contain nearly 1,000 milligrams of potassium that's almost the same as a baked potato. At the very same time, it delivers over 1,200 milligrams of oxalates, which is far above what weakened kidneys can process. It's like stacking 2 heavy weights on a fragile scale. Potassium builds up in the blood, risking hyperkalemia and dangerous heart rhythm problems, while oxalates bind with calcium, forming sharp crystals that inflame or even block the kidney's filters. Michael, a 62-year-old who proudly switched to a plant-based lifestyle, learned this lesson the hard way. Believing Swiss chard was a safe, healthy choice, he ate it almost daily. After 2 months, his lab work showed potassium levels spiking into the danger zone, and not long after, he passed his first kidney stone. The very vegetable he thought was protecting him was silently overwhelming his kidneys from both sides. Boiling can reduce some soluble oxalates, but it hardly touches the potassium, which means the double threat remains. That's why experts advise strict portion control, or better yet, safer substitutes. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next so-called superfood is even more popular, blended into millions of green smoothies every morning, and it can devastate your kidneys faster than almost anything else. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next leafy green is praised worldwide as a superfood, yet it may be the single most dangerous vegetable for your kidneys: spinach. It's been labeled a superfood for decades, low in calories, packed with vitamins, and celebrated as the perfect base for salads, sautés, and especially green smoothies. Parents feed it to their kids, athletes swear by it, and wellness influencers put handfuls of it in their morning blenders. But what almost no one talks about is that spinach is one of the most dangerous vegetables you can choose if your kidneys are vulnerable. The issue isn't its vitamins, it's the staggering amount of oxalates. Just 100 grams of raw spinach, barely more than a cup, can contain nearly 970 milligrams of oxalates. That's close to 20 times more than what's considered safe for someone with kidney concerns in a single day. And here's where the risk multiplies. Nobody stops at 1 cup. When spinach is blended or juiced, people often use 3 or 4 cups at once, turning a healthy smoothie into a concentrated flood of oxalates that can scar kidney tissue and block the filtration system. Jennifer, a 34-year-old yoga instructor, thought she was fueling her body with clean nutrition. For 6 weeks straight, she blended 2 full cups of raw spinach into her daily smoothies. At first, she just felt more tired than usual. Then came nausea, then back pain. By the time she saw her doctor, oxalate crystals were clogging her kidneys, and her kidney function had dropped dangerously low. It took months of treatment before she could stabilize again, and she was forced to eliminate raw spinach from her diet completely. So while spinach may look like a friend to your health, for your kidneys, it can be a silent saboteur. But just knowing this isn't enough, because not all vegetables are enemies. Some are powerful allies, and the first one is a humble white vegetable that heals quietly. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable may look plain and ordinary, yet it could become your kidney's strongest shield. After hearing about spinach, you might feel like every vegetable is out to get your kidneys. But that's not true. Some are not only safe, they actively protect you. And one of the most overlooked champions is cauliflower. It may not have the bright colors of leafy greens or the trendy hype of superfoods, but for your kidneys, this humble white vegetable is pure relief. Unlike potatoes or Swiss chard, cauliflower is naturally low in potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and oxalates, the very compounds that overload weak kidneys. Just 1 cup of cooked cauliflower has only about 88 milligrams of potassium compared to nearly 1,000 in a baked potato. That makes it a safe, stable base for meals when your goal is kidney protection. The beauty of cauliflower is also its flexibility. You can steam it, roast it, grill it, or mash it. In fact, one of the smartest swaps is mashed cauliflower in place of mashed potatoes. The texture is creamy and satisfying, but without the potassium overload. Add a touch of roasted garlic, a drizzle of olive oil, maybe a spoonful of low-sodium cream cheese, and suddenly you've got comfort food that actually supports your health instead of threatening it. And here's the bonus: cauliflower belongs to the cruciferous family rich in compounds that fight inflammation. Since chronic inflammation is one of the main drivers of kidney decline, eating cauliflower isn't just safe, it actively helps your body calm down the damage. Affordable, accessible, and easy to cook, it's a vegetable that proves healing doesn't need to be complicated. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable is not only safe, it's bright, sweet, and secretly protective in ways that go beyond the kidneys. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable adds color to your plate while silently shielding both your kidneys and your heart. If cauliflower offers comfort, red bell peppers bring protection with a burst of color. Bright, sweet, and easy to love, they're not just a garnish on your plate, they're one of the most kidney-friendly vegetables you can choose. And the best part, they're naturally low in the very nutrients that put stress on weak kidneys. 1 cup of chopped red bell pepper has only about 251 milligrams of potassium, 30 milligrams of phosphorus, and just 4 milligrams of sodium. That's a fraction compared to foods like potatoes or spinach, which means you can enjoy them raw in salads, roasted for that smoky flavor, or even stuffed with grains and herbs without worrying about hidden overload. But the real magic is in their antioxidants. Red bell peppers are packed with vitamin C, beta-carotene flavonoids, and lycopene, the same powerful compounds that fight oxidative stress. And that matters because oxidative stress is like rust building up in the body, inflaming tissues and damaging blood vessels. Kidneys under strain are especially vulnerable to this process, and the antioxidants in peppers act like a protective shield, slowing down that silent rust. There's also a ripple effect protecting your blood vessels, and reducing inflammation doesn't just help the kidneys, it helps the heart too. And since kidney disease and heart problems often go hand in hand, eating red bell peppers is like defending both organs at once. It's a vegetable that's sweet, versatile, and protective, proving that not all kidney-safe foods are boring or bland. In fact, the brighter your plate, the stronger your defenses. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next ingredient doesn't just protect it, fights back with a punch so strong it's been trusted for thousands of years as natural medicine. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next food may be small and sharp in flavor, but it carries healing power that modern science has finally confirmed. If red bell peppers shield your kidneys with color, garlic defends them with force. For thousands of years, garlic has been treasured, not just as a seasoning, but as medicine. And today, modern science proves what ancient healers already knew. Garlic protects your body in ways no spice rack substitute ever could. Unlike many vegetables that overload the kidneys with potassium or oxalates, garlic is naturally low in both. That makes it safe to use daily, even for people with kidney concerns. But what makes garlic truly powerful is a compound called allicin, released when a clove is crushed or chopped. Allicin acts like a natural anti-inflammatory and antioxidant, rolled into one, calming swelling inside the kidneys and neutralizing free radicals that silently break down delicate tissue. Patricia, a 60-year-old woman with stage 3 kidney disease, was advised to cut back on salt and find kidney-friendly ways to flavor her meals. She started crushing 2 cloves of garlic each day and letting them rest for a few minutes before cooking to maximize the allicin. Within 3 months, her blood pressure dropped from 150/95 to 135/85. Her inflammation markers improved, and her doctor was impressed at how such a simple habit made such a big difference. Garlic doesn't just protect the kidneys directly, it also helps lower blood pressure, one of the biggest causes and complications of kidney disease. That means every clove not only adds flavor, but also reduces one of the heaviest burdens your kidneys face. So the next time you season a dish, remember that garlic is more than a taste, it's a defense strategy. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the final vegetable doesn't just defend, it teaches your body to defend itself, turning your cells into their own army. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next humble green switches on an internal shield that helps your kidneys fight back from the inside. If garlic fights on your behalf, cabbage trains your body to fight for itself. At first glance, cabbage doesn't look like a powerful healer. It's cheap, common, and often overlooked on grocery shelves. But for your kidneys, this humble green is like quiet armor, switching on internal defenses that most people don't even know exist. Cabbage is naturally low in potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and oxalates, which already makes it safe for stressed kidneys. But what makes it truly remarkable is a compound called sulforaphane. This plant chemical activates a pathway in your body known as NRF2, which works like flipping a master switch. When it's turned on, your cells begin producing more of their own antioxidants, detoxifying enzymes, and repair systems. In other words, cabbage doesn't just reduce harm, it helps your body fight back on its own. Scientific studies confirm that sulforaphane-rich vegetables, especially cabbage, can slow down kidney decline by reducing oxidative stress and calming inflammation at the cellular level. And the best part, you don't need fancy powders or supplements. It's one of the most affordable vegetables in the world. Whether you slice it raw into coleslaw, steam it lightly, or saute it with garlic and olive oil, it slips easily into your meals while building your kidneys' resilience from the inside out. James, a 67-year-old retiree, started eating cabbage 3 times a week after his doctor suggested safer swaps. Over time, his lab results improved, not just because cabbage avoided adding stress, but because it gave his kidneys breathing room to heal. Cabbage proves that sometimes the simplest foods carry the deepest power, but just knowing this isn't enough, because while these swaps can protect your kidneys, there's one final truth you need to hear about the detox myth that misleads millions in what real kidney cleansing actually looks like. But just knowing this isn't enough, because before you fill your fridge, you need to uncover the biggest lie about detox and the one shift that truly saves your kidneys. If you've made it this far, it shows one thing clearly: you care about your health and you're ready to take action. And that alone is already a powerful step forward. Remember, protecting your kidneys doesn't require perfection. You don't need extreme diets, miracle powders, or expensive cleanses. What truly matters are the small, steady choices you make day after day, choosing safer vegetables, drinking water consistently, and giving your kidneys the relief they need to keep working for you. I want you to pause for a moment and reflect which of the foods we talked about today shows up most often in your meals, and which safer option can you swap in tomorrow. Even one small change: cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes, bell peppers instead of heavy sauces, garlic instead of salt, can start to ease the burden on your kidneys. Your body listens to every choice you make, and it responds with resilience when you give it a chance. That's why I encourage you, don't just watch this video and move on. Save it so you can revisit the key points whenever you're planning meals. And if you haven't already hit subscribe, and join this channel. Each week, we share the latest trusted medical insights to help you protect your kidneys and your overall health. By subscribing, you won't miss the guidance that could prevent a crisis or even save your life. Most importantly, hold on to this truth: kidney health is not about fear, it's about empowerment. Even if you've made mistakes in the past, even if your numbers aren't where you want them to be right now, you are never powerless. With knowledge, with awareness, and with consistent small steps, you can protect your kidneys, restore your energy, and build a healthier future. Your kidneys may stay silent, but your choices speak loudly. And today, you've chosen to listen. That decision could change everything.